For nearly 3,000 years, they were just buried, gone. These giant stone-faced monuments that hold one of ancient history's most compelling secrets. So let's dive right into this incredible puzzle, the Olmec colossal heads. Just picture this for a second. It's 1871, you're a farmer in Mexico, and you hit something solid in your field. So you start digging. And slowly, this face emerges from the earth. A face carved from a single massive boulder, just staring out from a past so distant you can barely even imagine it. This was the moment the modern world came face to face with the Olmec. You can imagine a discovery like that just immediately brings up the big questions, right? Who on earth had the power and the technology to create something like this over 3,000 years ago? Who are they supposed to be? And maybe the biggest question of all, why were they so carefully and intentionally buried? So, to even begin to answer those questions, we first need to meet their creators. As of today, we found 17 of these incredible heads, and each one is like a clue in this fascinating investigation that takes us deep into the heart of Mesoamerica's very first great civilization, the Olmecs. They thrived along the Gulf Coast of Mexico, starting way back around 1200 BCE. People often call them a mother culture because so many of their ideas in art and politics and religion went on to influence later civilizations, like the Maya and the Aztecs. But here's the catch. They left us no written records. All we have are these silent stone witnesses. All right, so the first piece of this mystery isn't just who they were, but how was this even possible? I mean, the sheer scale of this project is just mind-boggling, even with all of our modern technology. Let's just start with the weight. The average head weighs around 8 tons. That's heavier than a bull elephant. And I have to say it again, that's just the average. Now, think about their size. Some of these things stand nearly 3 meters. That's almost 10 feet tall. They would have absolutely towered over the people who made them, just projecting this immense sense of power and authority. And here is where it gets truly wild. The basalt stone they used, it was quarried in the Tuxtla Mountains. The nearest major Olmec city, San Lorenzo, was over 100 kilometers away, and they moved it all without wheels or even any large animals to help them. Just incredible. So how in the world did they pull it off? Well, archaeologists think it was this monumental, multi-step process. First, you have to quarry a single massive boulder. Then came the incredible journey. They probably used huge balsa wood rafts to float them down rivers, and then log rollers to drag them across land. The actual carving was done with other, harder handheld stones. And for those fine details, get this, they would drill with hollow reeds and wet sand, a super slow, painstaking technique that gave the faces that remarkable depth and expression. Okay, so we're starting to get a sense of the almost impossible effort it took to create these things. And that brings us to the next logical question. Who were these people? Who was so important that they deserved this kind of monumental tribute? The theory that pretty much everyone agrees on is that these are portraits of powerful Olmec rulers. As the World History Encyclopedia puts it, the sheer difficulty and cost involved pretty much points directly to them being portraits of the absolute top dogs in Olmec society. Now, what's really cool is the evidence for this theory. I mean, just look closely at the faces. These are not generic statues. The helmets, the facial features, they're all distinct. Every single head seems to represent a unique individual, a specific person immortalized in stone. And the details on those helmets? They're just loaded with meaning. Yeah, they were protective gear, worn for battle and for the ritual Mesoamerican ballgame, which was a super sacred event that could literally have life or death stakes. But they were also status symbols. Some have jaguar paws, which was a huge symbol of religious and political might. One even has giant talons carved right into it. This was royal regalia, no doubt about it. So why just the heads, right? Why not full body statues? Well, the answer seems to lie deep in Mesoamerican belief. For a lot of these cultures, the head was the seat of the soul. It held a person's identity, their emotions, their spirit. So to sculpt the head was to capture the very essence of that ruler. We've looked at the how and the who, but this final layer of the mystery is maybe the most debated of all. What happened to these incredible monuments? Why did they just vanish? So here's the crucial point. The heads weren't just lost to time. around 900 BCE, right at the end of the Olmec's main period of influence. Most of these monuments were intentionally damaged and then carefully, methodically buried. This wasn't an accident. This was an event. But why? Why do that? Well, archaeologists have two main schools of thought here. Was it some kind of ritual act? Maybe the heads were buried as a way to worship their ancestors. Or perhaps it was a ritual distancing, a way to close the book on a past era. Or was it a political takedown? Maybe new rulers came in and defaced the monuments of the guys who came before them to legitimize their own power. Or maybe, and this is a fascinating idea, they believed they had to physically damage the head to neutralize the dead ruler's soul and influence. The truth is, we just don't know for sure. Whatever the reason for their burial, the result was the same. The Olmec heads disappeared from human sight, and this created a silence in the historical record that would last for millennia. This timeline is just staggering to think about. The heads were buried around 900 BCE. The very first one wasn't stumbled upon until 1871, and the most recent one, number 17, was only dug up in 1994. That is a gap of nearly 3,000 years where these absolute masterpieces were completely forgotten by the world.
Today, of course, that silence is broken. The Olmec heads are celebrated all around the world. They're not just incredible works of art. They're priceless historical documents that give us our only real glimpse into the faces of the rulers of Mesoamerica's mysterious mother culture.
And that really leaves us with a final, fascinating thought. The Olmec could literally move mountains of stone, but they left behind no system of writing that we've ever found. In a way, these heads are their words. And it just makes you wonder, what other stories, what other incredible secrets still lie waiting to be discovered under the soil?